All right, let's jump right in. Today we're tackling a cosmic mystery that really pits bold, exciting speculation against the slow, careful work of the scientific method. We're talking about a visitor from deep space called 3I/Atlas. And the question at the heart of it all is, was this thing just a comet, or could it have been something built?
I want you to just start there for a second. Really imagine it. An object zipping through our own solar system that wasn't born from gas and dust, but was actually engineered by something else. This is the idea, as provocative as it is, that completely lit up the scientific community.
Okay, so let's get into the details. Before we can even touch the controversy, we have to meet the object of everyone's attention, this incredibly rare and strange visitor that came to us from that unbelievable emptiness between the stars.
And this number is everything. 3. 3IR Atlas was only the third interstellar object we have ever confirmed. That's it. Just the fact that it's so rare meant it was a huge, huge deal. You can bet that every single detail about it was going to be looked at under a microscope.
So here's what we know for sure. These are the undisputed facts. It was first spotted in mid-2025 from a telescope down in Chile. And man, it was moving at an incredible speed, on a path that told us without a doubt it didn't come from around here. This is the baseline, the reality that everyone started with.
And this is where the story pivots. Because those simple, basic observations quickly spiraled into a massive debate, all thanks to a very prominent astronomer from Harvard, who took a look at the data and suggested something extraordinary.
And boom, there it is. That's the quote from Avi Loeb that just kicked off a media firestorm and a ton of scientific debate. Now, to be fair, he wasn't screaming, "It's aliens." He was suggesting that we had to seriously consider the possibility that it wasn't natural.
Which is a totally fair question, right? You don't just throw out the alien artifact card without a good reason. So what was it? What did Loeb and his supporters see that made them think this thing might not be just another space rock? So this really gets to the core of the mystery. We know what comets are supposed to do. They get close to the sun, they heat up, and they get that classic, beautiful tail of gas and dust. But 3I/Atlas, it wasn't really playing by the rules. It didn't have that obvious tail, and its path, its trajectory, was just a little off. For Loeb, these weird little details just didn't add up. It didn't look like a normal comet.
So, faced with this really sensational claim, what did the scientific world do? They didn't just dismiss it out of hand. Instead, they did what science does best. They got to work, carefully and methodically, to put the claim to the test.
So, what does that process actually look like? Well, it's not about arguing, it's about data. Researchers at NASA and elsewhere just dug in. They pored over every bit of observational data they had, they ran incredibly complex computer models of its orbit, and they even studied its thermal signature, how it heated up and cooled down. It was some serious detective work.
And after all that painstaking work, what did they find? Well, their conclusion was pretty clear. Yeah, the object had some weird quirks, no doubt, but at the end of the day, it was behaving like a comet. The way it was heating up, the way it might be releasing gas, it all fit the profile of a natural object from interstellar space. There were just no definitive signs of anything artificial.
And this brings us to one of the most important ideas in all of science, one you've probably heard before. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. A slightly unusual path is interesting. It's a puzzle, but it's not extraordinary evidence. To claim you've found an alien artifact, you need something way, way bigger.
And this really just shows you the gap, right? The evidence they had, that odd behavior, was a piece of the puzzle, for sure. It was maybe a quarter of the way there. But it fell so far short of that super high bar you need to clear to say you found proof of an alien civilization.
So you might be thinking, okay, so it's probably just a weird comet. Was this whole debate a waste of time? And the answer is absolutely not. In fact, this whole episode teaches us some really valuable things about how science is supposed to work.
So what can we pull from all this? Well, first, it shows the system is strong. A weird, out-there idea wasn't just ignored, it was taken seriously and tested. That's a win. Second, it shows that imagination is crucial. A bold idea like Loeb's, even if it turns out to be wrong, pushes everyone to look closer and be better. And third, it's a good reminder to be a little skeptical of those splashy headlines, because the real science is usually a lot more nuanced. And that really is the heart of it, isn't it? Science is this amazing balancing act. You need the bold thinkers, the ones asking what if,
But you also absolutely need the meticulous, careful researchers who demand proof and test everything. One isn't much good without the other.
So in the end, it almost doesn't matter what 3i/Atlas actually was. The debate itself was what was so meaningful. It forced the entire community to ask really tough questions. Questions about how we define what's natural versus what's artificial, and what kind of evidence would actually change everything we think we know.
And that leaves us with one final question, one for you to think about. When you look up at the night sky, what are your assumptions? What do you just assume is out there? And what would it really take to change your mind? The story of 3i/Atlas is a great reminder that the universe is still packed with mysteries, just waiting for us to figure them out. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.